One Nigeria is a crime against humanity. Unbelievable. How can we have gotten ourselves into this mess just because of sake of one Nigeria? If you are just supporting one Nigeria, you are supporting evil. This video that you are about to watch have spoken the volume out of the masses. What the masses is talking about this video is causing global attention. So please, I'm urging you to just sit well, comport yourself. Let's see what the world is talking about this video.
You hit the nail on the head that this is tied together with Islam. Can I tell you something quick that happened over in Nigeria here just 4 days ago?
Sure.
Yeah, so over in Kwara, just west of Abuja there, the western edge of the Middle Belt, in fact, some are really saying it's southern Nigeria, okay? So this is where there's not supposed to be attacks happening. The Islamists came in, the jihadists came down, and they put out pamphlets saying, come hear us preach, come hear us preach. And so people came out and heard them preach, and at the end of this message that they gave, they said, do you agree with it? And of course, there were several Christians, of course, who said no. And then there were also apathetic Muslims who said no. And they just took their guns out and started firing and killing them.
It is good to be with you, ma. Nigeria is in trouble. Nigeria is in crisis. It is unfortunate that the National Assembly, that is supposed to be the hallmark of a democracy, that should protect the interest of the citizens and our well-being, today, under the leadership of Mr. Godswill Obodakpabio,
200 American troops are headed to Nigeria to help stop the killing of Christians by Islamist militants. President Trump promised to protect Christians and others under persecution and execution there last year when he designated Nigeria a country of particular concern over the attacks and mass killings and kidnappings. Earlier this week, Congressman Riley Moore.
Where shall we begin? Then look at the truth here. So please, I'm urging you to just sit and see things for your eyes. Nigeria is a crime against humanity. Watch the video and be the judge to judge for yourself. My eyes have seen my ear. Nigeria, it shall never be well with you. Let's watch the video.
You hit the nail on the head that this is tied together with Islam. Can I tell you something quick that happened over in Nigeria here just 4 days ago?
Sure.
Yeah, so over in Kwara, just west of Abuja there, the western edge of the Middle Belt, in fact, some are really saying it's southern Nigeria, okay? So this is where there's not supposed to be attacks happening. The Islamists came in, the jihadists came down, and they put out pamphlets saying, come hear us preach, come hear us preach. And so people came out and heard them preach, and at the end of this message that they gave, they said, do you agree with it? And of course, there were several Christians, of course, who said no. And then there were also apathetic Muslims who said no. And they just took their guns out and started firing and killing them. 170 dead in the streets of Kwara in Nigeria right there. This is exactly what is consistent with Islam and teaching right there in Surah chapter 9. I mean, this is the face of Islam, unfortunately.
200 American troops are headed to Nigeria to help stop the killing of Christians by Islamist militants. President Trump promised to protect Christians and others under persecution and execution there last year when he designated Nigeria a country of particular concern over the attacks and mass killings and kidnappings. Earlier this week, Congressman Riley Moore was in focus.
Right now, the folks that I am talking to on the ground have described what's happening in the Middle Belt in the north of Nigeria right now in the last 10 days as a bloodbath. It's just wanton death and murder and destruction that continues. But working with the administration, we are making steps in the right direction to address this persecution. The president is very singularly focused on addressing this.
And it is in the Faulkner Focus, and we continue our coverage. Senior foreign correspondent Jillian Turner. Jillian.
Good morning to you, Harris. President Trump is accusing Nigeria's government of complete and total failure to protect its own citizens from terrorist attacks. So now the Pentagon is deploying, as you mentioned, U.S. service members in the hopes that those troops can help Nigeria's military to help its own people. There are 200 troops, as you mentioned, who are going to be deployed to Nigeria. They are going to work hand in glove with a very small U.S. footprint already there on the ground. They are focused on the fight against Islamist terror groups, Boko Haram and ISIS. Here's the president last week, Harris.
When Christians come under attack, they know they're going to be attacked violently and viciously by President Trump. I know it's not a nice thing to say, but that's the way it is.
Nigerians have been hit by a series of deadly attacks in 2026 so far. Militants regularly raiding markets, villages, churches, schools all across the country. More than 240 people have been killed so far. This U.S. troop deployment follows, as you mentioned, the designation of Nigeria as a country of concern in October. Back then, President Trump cited the killing of 3,100 Christians known last year, as well as joint U.S.-Nigerian strikes on terror targets on Christmas Day. The U.S. envoy for religious freedom says that terror groups are actually getting a helping hand, unfortunately. Take a listen.
Nigeria is now the deadliest place on the planet to be a Christian. At the same time, the Nigerian government is seeking and receiving support from countries I previously named: China, Russia, Turkey, and Saudi Arabia. I wonder why.
It's really interesting, Harris, to look at the demographics of African nations writ large, because nearly half of the entire continent today actually identifies as Christian. This is a huge demographic change from 50 years ago. 100 years ago, it was less than 9% of people in the country. This incredibly swift and transformational change, I guess, is coming with a huge cost. Harris?
Well, and for the first time, there have been studies, Pew among them, that have looked at the size and scope of Christianity around the globe. And by numbers, it is now outnumbering other religions on the planet. So what you're watching is where that's happening in particular. Jillian, thank you very much.
Hey,
it is good to be with you, Ma. Nigeria is in trouble. Nigeria is in crisis. It is unfortunate that the National Assembly, that is supposed to be the hallmark of a democracy, that should protect the interest of the citizens and our well-being, today, under the leadership of Mr. Godswill Obodakpabio, has not only become a rubber stamp Senate. The current Senate is basically an extension of the presidency, operating under the whims and caprices of the executive arm of government. So if President Tinubu asks Senate and House leadership to jump up, the question will be how high. It has become almost an APC town hall where people are singing and standing upon a mandate which they shall collapse. But that is not even just the problem. The National Assembly today has become a dangerous institution, weaponized against the Nigerian people, and have proven to be only capable of aiding and sustaining corruption and criminality in government. And this INEC budget is just one of so many. So the INEC chairman, Professor Joash Amukpiton, has presented the budget of 873 billion. The question will be, what exactly are we using all this amount of money to do? Is that not what a reasonable legislative arm of government should be overseeing? Because in Nigeria we spend billions of naira, and the tragedy is that at the end of this process, everybody will then sit down and wait for the tribunal and the courts to pick leaders. That is the judicialization of our democracy. But then again, let us go into the details. The INEC chairman said about 200 billion of this money is set aside for electronic technology. Anti-root electronic technology, when the same National Assembly has passed a clause that says where there is no enough network, we should go back to the same manual method that has been giving us glitches and rigged elections. Nigerians have told the INEC chairman what exactly is the technology to be procured with 200 billion. If we do not have confidence in our own telcos to provide network on election day, INEC should immediately go into a partnership with Starlink so that the 177,000 plus polling units in Nigeria can have Starlink network guaranteed. It will cost less than 100 billion. But somehow nobody is ready to scrutinize because it is all a conduit for criminality. Do you know that in INEC, every election, INEC has been granting contract to certain persons to provide electronic technology? If there is no mischief, and this is not a work between both INEC and the lawmakers, when there was a glitch in 2023, after Mahmoud Yakubu received more than 300 billion and said 150 something billion was for electronic technology, when there was a glitch, Anti-Root and Nigerians, who has called the contractors who handled that project to book? Which of the contractors was charged to court? Which of them has been held accountable? We are still budgeting another 200 billion for the same electronic technology. So as it is today, nobody knows the contractors in INEC, who are the persons printing sensitive materials. And guess what? This is not just the budget for INEC. This is for this year, 2026. INEC will have another budget for 2027. If they need a supplementary budget, it will be given. But we do not equate the money we spend vis-a-vis the quality of elections we have. Do you know that from the Senate public hearings in the Ministry of Solid Minerals headed by Mr. Dele Alake, Nigeria is still budgeting 6 billion plus to pay salaries of staff in Ajaokuta Steel Company. Have you been to Ajaokuta Steel recently? A place that has been overrun with rats and reptiles. So that is what exactly is going on in the National Assembly. Who is approving the funds for INEC and other parastatals? Who is insisting to know exactly what is being done with this money? So we just continue to have this over-bloated budget. But for now, the Senate says they are having an extraordinary session on the 17th, which is on Tuesday. Nigerians must insist that the mandatory real-time electronic transmission of result is passed, and not only passed, we want to know exactly what INEC is spending taxpayer money to do, not to spend billions of naira and end up with a glitch. It is unacceptable. If there are free and fair elections in Nigeria today, President Tinubu and his APC gang, their defeat will be announced before 1 p.m. on election day. They know that they have no path to victory in 2027, and that is why they rely on the defected governors who are standing upon a mandate which they shall collapse. You know why? When you do manual coalition, it empowers the gatekeepers in those states, the governors and political office holders, to be able to influence and to pretend over those institutions, so they can rewrite figures. You can see the kind of mutilations that happened in Biafra and other parts of the country. So that is why you see politicians continue to push for this manual system. Nigerians must know that the more people come out to vote, the more difficult it is to rig. There is a deliberate attempt. That is why you can see everybody. If not, ask yourself the question. President Tinubu has more than 30 governors standing upon a mandate. They have the entire National Assembly. They have the judiciary. They have the police. Only INEC has not declared officially to stand upon the mandate which it shall collapse. Yet they have inaugurated city boys, township boys, everything boys, renewed hunger, renewed rascality, renewed whatever. So why are you still afraid of free and fair elections? Why are you afraid of one single clause, mandatory real-time transmission of results, which INEC has said we can do? It is mischievous. Nigerians must wake up and know that this is your opportunity to choose your leaders. Our lives will not move forward until our votes begin to count. We must insist on it.
The country is already divided. No be me the divider. I'm just stating the obvious. No be me the divider. Am I even dividing it? I'm stating the obvious. The obvious, which is the fact that people are just trying to emancipate themselves from these radical janjaweeds. In my own word, I want to use radical Islamization, right? But when I use radical Islamization, I get to understand that a lot of people don't understand me. When I use the word radical Islamization, there's actually a difference between radical Islamization and actually Islam. The Islam I know, I have a lot of good people, good friends that are Islams, good Islams, that till tomorrow, they are my die-hard Buddhists that I will never let go at any cost, that I'm ready to sacrifice my life for them. But the fact is, the country is divided. And what is my advocacy at this point in time? In regards all I'm saying, the fact is, this is not the time for any region to lose its voice in regards being relevant and maintaining dominance. That is just it. No matter what it takes. Talking about the Southeast people have lost their voice already. Their voice is in Sokoto now. It's in Sokoto where their politicians are thinking of PDP, APC, or whatever, and the rest are creating excuses in regards why it should be so or why it shouldn't be so. Because when we come out, then go finish us. And that is why I propose the concept of 1 million march. And I'm daring anybody to dare me in regards to that. And sincerely, if I must put it to you, I won't put this entirely on the president, because if the president is to tell you the obvious, he will tell you he's overwhelmed. But the fact is, it needs a collaboration of effort from you people. And the fact is, you people are supposed to sharpen other people in regards the need to kick against this. But what are you doing? Money, ego, material possessions, desires, or whatever. I have a lot of things running in my head. I just hope I will be able to maintain status quo. But that is the reality, right? So this is not the time to lose your voice. The same thing the same as Nnamdi Kanu did. In short, the man who saw us tomorrow, because he predicted right from even before Tinubu became president, and even in regards the atrocities happening, and it's all going on. And let me not use that word again. You people are just sitting there and thinking it's just a matter of time. No, let me tell you something. It's just a matter of time before you be brought to the table when your time reach for you to be butchered.
All right, now that you have seen the end of the clip, what you just see, is this not the highest of the it all? Is this not the highest of an injustice? Nigeria have been dying in, day out by the hand of these so-called politicians. So please, I'm urging the America, I'm urging the Israel, I'm urging all the patriotic men, the men that matters in the world, to come for the rescue of Nigerians. Nigeria is gone. Disintegrate this country, because it's only this disintegration will give a hope for a common man. Imagine how these politicians have been making life so miserable, and how long shall we continue wallowing in this mess? We say enough is enough to this. If you are one of those people that are here supporting evil, if you are one of these people that are here supporting one Nigeria will happen to you. Nigeria will surely happen to you and your generation, because you are supporting evil. Yes, like our leader always say, Mazen Nnamdi can always remind us that if you serve to Nigeria government, you will come back in shame. Nigeria government have happened to a lot of people who believed so dearly to Nigeria. Today, many of them are not alive to tell the story.